Hey guys, thanks for coming back. Today I'm going to be going over some of my photos that I took in 2019 and kind of just talk about how I took them or what I used, or maybe just show them. And then maybe talk about some goals for the channel in 2020. So thanks for coming and let's dive in. Alright, so the first one here is of a bald eagle and a parrot. And both of these were at the Tulsa Zoo. We went, and I think I just picked up my 85 f1.8 Canon lens, and so I really just wanted to try it out. And the 85 turned out to be a great lens for that day. As you can see, the bokeh looks great in the back of the eagle here, and the background's completely blown out behind the parrot, but it's a great sharp image. It's one of my favorite images of these birds that I took that day, and so I had to put them in the mix. You don't really get a chance to shoot these birds with an 85. Typically you probably need a longer lens in nature, but with the zoo and with the fence, with the 85, you don't really see the fence much in front of both of these birds. So that was kind of cool to be able to see them up and close and get some decent photos with this lens. On to the next one. This one is of my Jeep, and there's always it seems like there's always something going on at the mall parking lot. And I think it was July or something, I was driving by and I seen it, and my boss had mentioned that he wanted to go out and do a photo of his car in front of the Ferris wheel at a long exposure. I never even thought of that, and so we were going to meet up. He didn't end up coming out that night. So this parking lot sits up above the mall parking lot, so it kind of gives you a good angle to put everything back behind it. And I thought about putting it a little closer so the Ferris wheel filled more of the background, but I kind of like that you could see like Kamikaze over here on the left, and you can see some of the other rides, and then you get some of that motion, that Ferris wheel. I think that was probably at 2 seconds. I don't know, I can always go back and look, but yeah, this is one of my favorite images just because I love taking photos of my Jeep, but not very often do I do it. So the next one here is 4th of July. I was at a family cookout, and they had their American flag hanging off the back porch, and I was sitting right under it, and I was watching fireworks, and I was like, oh, that might be a cool angle. So I took a bunch of photos, actually messing with focusing on the flag and not focusing on the flag, but I feel like you could see the flag and you can understand what it is, and then you got the fireworks that kind of coincide with the red, white, and blue. So that ended up being one of my favorite images from that night. So had to put that in the mix. I shoot a lot of baseball, and this is from my brother's team up in Kansas City. The white jerseys blaze. As you can see, the ball is right over the base runner. As he slides, the ball's going right over his arm. So it was a really close play, and it was kind of cool to catch that action as he was sliding into third base. So I always love shooting these kids. I've been shooting this team for probably 3 years now, and I've got some of my favorite images from this team. They're really fun to watch. So this next one is my niece, and we set her up on our bed and just put a blanket around her. And we have these lights behind our headboard, but we brought them in front to get those bokeh balls back there. And then obviously it's processed black and white, and some things here and there to really make it what it is, and it turned out really cool. So I really like this image of her. I think this one was shot with my Canon 50 1.4, which I actually just sold a couple weeks ago, but it was a great lens for that day because I was able to get that really shallow depth of field at f1.4 to really blow out that background and just get the bokeh balls and not see much of the background. So, well, I love beer, and being in Kansas, Missouri area, we have Kansas City Boulevard Brewery, so I'm always trying their new stuff that comes out. And this summer they came out with the sour ale with cucumber chill vibes, and I thought that'd be a really cool can to kind of create an image out of, like a product style. And I've been trying to do more product style shoots with just maybe new liquor bottle I get or a new beer I try, just because it's always fun to try new things. And now that I have like this office in here that I can kind of like do things with, I like to set up lights and mess with the flash and, you know, be more creative. So I got this can in a 6-pack and just basically just cut up some cucumbers, threw it on this table with this round marble piece that I found at a flea market. And I got this really cool beer glass. Heck, it's probably not even a beer glass. I got it in some like monthly box subscription that my wife got. So I use that as a beer glass. And yeah, so it's just one of my favorite images. I really love Boulevard's beer. So anytime they come out with something new, I'm always trying to create an image for it. This one is D2 college football here in Joplin, Missouri. And Joplin is the yellow and green Missouri Southern Lions. And they were playing Nebraska Kearney Lopers. And this is on a field goal kick. And as you can see, the ball is just gets right past the Lions rusher here to block. And he ended up making that kick. But it was one of my favorite images. You can see the new head coach back here, even though it's bokeh out. But you got a crowd full of, you know, watchers. And this team, the Lions, they haven't been doing the greatest, but they had a great showing this year. They had some solid games, but this is just one of my favorite images. I like the Oregon style colored jerseys here with the bright colors, and the action I really like that the ball is bright in there. And so I just love sports photography. If you guys want to know more about that, I can always do a video. This one is from a hike a few months back, and this is down in Arkansas at Hawksbill Crag or Whitaker Point, whatever you want to call it. You can Google this, and it's a pretty fun trail. It's kind of a tough one, but the views, as you can see, this is obviously a pretty tight shot, but this is a crag that comes out over a valley, and this is in the morning, so the fog and the clouds are in because you're up pretty high. And so this is the typical image everyone takes, is sitting down or standing up. And the viewpoint where I'm from, you can shoot a clear image without anything in the way. So a lot of people get this angle of the shot. But I thought it was cool because they were sitting there doing a photo shoot with someone, and their photographer was actually further back than I was, probably another 50 yards. So I was able to get a really cool image that day. So that's one of my favorite hikes in Arkansas. High school football, I shoot a lot of this Frontenac team, this white jersey team right here. And this is one of their early games in the year, I believe. But this is the quarterback. He was a runner this year, and he just always broke out for a good play. And this is one of the early plays in the game. And I liked how I caught it. It was full air, you know, not even touching the ground here. And he has a stiff arm going, and he's almost looking right at me, which is kind of cool. But yeah, just one of my favorite images. You can see the full action in the play and stuff, but I probably should have cropped in a little more so you didn't see this random arm and foot over here, but you know. So this one's really cool. This is an albino deer, and we saw this on our last day in Nashville. We were actually south of Nashville, like 30 miles, staying in a cabin for our anniversary. And it was just really cool. Like, we were leaving, and then all of a sudden I look over, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's an albino deer. And come to find out, when you Google in that area for albino deer, there's actually like 3 others, but they all have like antlers, and they're a lot bigger. So this one's a pretty young one from, it looks like. I don't know deer, but it was really cool to see this. And I'm really glad I got the image, because it was kind of tough shooting through. I mean, as you could see, I'm shooting through the woods, and so I had to throw it in manual focus. And I'm using a 120 to 300 on my Nikon D3S, and it's a Sigma. And f2.8, I think I went up to f4 for this just to give me some leeway. And I didn't have a tripod, so I'm shooting this handheld. Luckily, it's a stabilized lens, but still enabling to get the shot. I mean, it's just awesome to have an image like this. I mean, a lot of people probably go their whole life without seeing an albino deer, so it's kind of cool to have. This one is at a plantation that we visited while we were down in Nashville, and they had the old chessboard, and it was original to the house. So I just snapped this real quick with my 35mm f2 IS-USM Canon lens, which is kind of my go-to for almost anything I want to shoot all my videos with. But I just really liked how this came out with the post-processing that I did. So this was at the Belle Meade plantation. They had the old whiskey barrels out there still on this wagon out by that ice box house or whatever it was called. But I went with a little more HDR-ish on this. I didn't shoot HDR, but I kind of crushed the highlights and brought up the shadows so the highlights here wouldn't blow out the barrels, and I was able to bring in the sky. And I just really like how this one came out. It kind of has like an oldish vintage feel to it for me, so I really like this image. And this image is right down in Bella Vista, Arkansas at Tanier Creek. It's a really public trail. A lot of people walk it. It's really easy. And this is a waterfall coming off of a spillway. And it's got some really cool water erosion in the rocks when the water's down. But the water is up here. This is back in October. And I was using my 14mm Rokinon manual focus lens. And I just really liked catching the fall colors and the leaves down below here and picking up the water motion by going on a slower shutter speed. And I just really like how those turned out. I've shot this waterfall probably 100 times and I never really had an image I liked, but I really like how this image came out. And this is right in the same trail. This is a hawk that just got a squirrel. I didn't get the action of it getting the squirrel, but I got the action of it flying up, and then once it landed, I was able to get pretty close to it with my 85mm and get this shot. I cropped in a little bit, but it was still a really cool image to be able to capture. So this is definitely one of my favorites for this year. And this is my family. This is my mom and dad, and my dad's holding up my niece Cora as she was getting ready to go to bed that night, and she of course was hyper, being 2 years old. So this is one of my favorite images. It's one of those images that you'll look back, or she'll see when she gets older, and hopefully they're thankful for the memories that they have that I capture, which I typically am capturing every moment of my nieces. So, and here's my other niece, Christmas shoot. They asked me to come take some photos of her. They had some ideas off Pinterest, and we kind of did what we could with the little bit of time that she was allowing us. You know how babies are. But this is her first Christmas, so I went and did some photos with the Christmas tree in the background. I think I shot this with the 85 1.8. So this is definitely my favorite image. Just kind of looking up, all kind of bright-eyed, and then you got the lights behind her and stuff. So here's another with the Rokinon 14mm f2.8 K&M mount lens. This is a 15-second exposure downtown Joplin, Missouri. And this is City Hall right here in the middle. And as you can see, long enough exposure, the clouds kind of are like wispy. And then you pick up the flares, because I'm at like f22 on that lens. And then you get the cars going by. So it just adds a really cool effect. And then you got the snow that's kind of melting away, and the side streets are covered, and sidewalks are covered. So this is definitely one of my favorite images, and something I've been doing a lot more of is long exposure photography lately. So this is my niece Cora. She was throwing leaves at me, and so what we did is we had her throw some, and then my twin brother, we don't look alike, he threw some leaves, and I made sure I focused in front of her to kind of like encapsulate her in the background and get the leaves in focus, but you still get the point of the image is her kind of having fun out on the back porch. So definitely one of my favorite images, and something I know she'll love seeing when she gets older. So here's a photo from a morning hike here in Missouri, a little east of Pittsburgh, Kansas, actually. And it's just it's Lester R. Davis Memorial Forest, and this guy bought the land way back when, and he's planted I think it said 100,000 different species of trees all in this forest. And it's not very big, but it's really cool because it's out in the middle of nowhere. You don't have any road noise, and typically no one else is ever out there, maybe one or two other people, but it's so big that you're not going to kind of run into each other. So it's a really cool place to go, and I try to get there in the mornings and just hike it, capture some images, maybe some video. And you can see one of my I have 2 videos up recently as of a couple weeks now of this place, and so you can see some of the hiking footage and some of the nature that's out there. It's really cool. Here's another 14mm Rokinon lens down in Devil's Den State Park. This is on Devil's Den Trail. And this is a waterfall. I'm actually on a bridge right here, but I'm not showing the bridge. And so you can see the waterfall comes down. I think it's like probably goes up about 30 feet at the very top there. And 15 seconds f/22, I think it was. But either way, it's a long exposure. I really like how this one came out. It's really sharp. Tomato focus lens, so sometimes I kind of miss the focus, but this time I took enough time. There was no one else on the trail that day. I was able to get a really cool image. It starts from all the way up at the top here and just comes down, and then it goes under the bridge and just keeps going all the way down into the creek. Here's another one that's close by Devil's Den State Park. It's Moonshiner's Cave. You can find this on the All Trails app, but really simple hike. You hike down, you get to it, and then you just hike the same trail back up. But I got lucky. Water was rolling that day over the side, and then you can see the cave off to the left. I think it was like 1910 or something like that when this was supposedly built. I'm not really sure fully on the history. That was my first time out there, but it was definitely a really cool spot. I found another waterfall nearby, but this is one of my favorite images because I've been wanting to get out to Arkansas again, other than just Tanier Creek, which is a real public walking trail. But this one is actually out in the Ozarks and kind of deeper into the woods, and it was just really nice to get out there by myself and just kind of, I probably spent an hour out there taking images, and this is one of my favorites. So there's some of my favorite photos from 2019. I'm sure there's plenty that I'm missing, but lately I've been shooting a lot more, so some of these are closer to the end of the year. But thanks for watching. Come back for more. I'll be doing some more videos in 2020 this year, as I hope to build this channel up. So if you guys have any suggestions or anything that I've talked about that you would like to know more of, let me know, and I'll do my best. Thanks.